Realbox, REB, is a blockchain-driven real estate platform that will innovate property investment by fractional ownership of real estate, both in real life and metaverse. Anyone's dream is to get as many as real estate as they can. But there are always some issues. Need a large sum of money to deposit to buy real estate. Low liquidity. An amount of paperwork and side fees. Time and money consuming to invest in global real estate. Thanks to blockchain, now real estate can be tokenized. Start investing from only $100. Invest in any real estate around the world and in metaverse in our marketplace. Liquidity grows, means more opportunities. Here is how it works. Realbox buys global real properties. Realbox issues Realbox tokens. Investors choose real estate or use Smart Invest. Investors buy Realbox tokens on our marketplace. Investors receive passive income, rental, staking. Investors sell tokens to earn any capital gain. There are two questions investors might concern. Who is in the core team? The Realbox founding team has a combined over 100 years of experience in real estate development, fund management, and blockchain technology globally. Realbox CEO has PhD in real estate at University of Western Sydney, and also a board member of one of the largest public real estate companies listed on the Ho Chi Minh Stock Exchange. Realbox advisors are experts in area that they are working in: legal, real estate, venture capital, and blockchain. We are proud to say Realbox partners include some of the largest property developers, real estate agencies and financial institutions in the USA, Australia, Europe, Dubai, and Vietnam. Especially, Realbox development team is from Remitano, a global cryptocurrency exchange serving international markets such as Nigeria, Venezuela, Malaysia, Vietnam, etc., with a total transaction value of more than $9 billion and over 2 million users worldwide. The second question is, who will own the certificate of land use? The project's legal papers will be owned by special purpose vehicle. This SVP will be managed by an independent legal entity. Token is an asset traded on a blockchain. Realbox has two types of tokens. Utility token, REB, pay for service fees in Realbox ecosystem, including listing, subscription, transaction, borrowing fees and paying dividend, etc. Security token, backed by real estate and represents a fractional ownership of the property. With Realbox, real estate is now more liquidity, diversify, and most importantly, real estate is for everyone, starting only with $100. Now the question is, where is your first portfolio?
Hello everyone, I'm Mia and I'm the host of this talk show. We're doing things a little bit differently today on Crypto Clear, so welcome to the webinar of Breaking Boundaries, Property Ownership Decentralization is the Future of Real Estate. So according to a report, the value of all of the world's real estate reached $326.5 trillion in 2020, which is more valuable than all global equities and debt securities combined. It also shows that real estate is always an attractive and a safe investment channel, which brings high profitability. During the recent years, this industry has witnessed major changes when technology stepped in, and it thrives. So it is undeniable that prop tech has significantly altered the transaction method, as well as created multiple new forms of investments. This technology has currently helped many people around the world to become real estate owners. And I think personally that many people will be interested in prop tech in general and in blockchain in particular, as well as their impacts on the real estate market. So today we welcome two experts to give us further perspectives of this industry. I think we're going to have a very, very interesting talk show with them today. I'm happy that you guys are all tuned in. And these two guests are first Mr. Joe Bronkers, who is the co-founder and executive board member of FIBREE, management advisor on digital real estate processes and data strategy. And our second guest is Mr. Alex Pham, who is the CEO and co-founder of Finna and Realbox.io. So thank you both for being here today.
Welcome. Thank you, Mia, for having us.
So I have a few questions for the both of you, and I'm going to start off with Joe. I have questions for you, but Alex, feel free to step in and add comments if you would like. So,
for sure.
Perfect. So according to the business research company, the global real estate market is expected to grow from 3,386.11 billion in 2021 to 3,741.06 billion in 2022 at a compound annual growth rate of 10.5%. So this is all despite the COVID-19 pandemic on the global economy. So Mr. Joe, how do you evaluate the current and the future real estate market?
Yeah, well, I think then we have to look to global mega trends. And I think there are a few very interesting mega trends that we see. That's the population growth in general in the world. We're seeing increased population, and we see this practically in every regions in the world. Some see this a little more, others see it a little less. But in general, that's a very important one. The other one is urbanization. People, they more and more go into the cities. So this will drive a new demand for real estate, a surface where people can live. And that's something that is very important. And then perhaps a third one is the wealth growth. We see, if you look back the last 50 years, more and more countries, they got same or perhaps sometimes even a better wealth level than the more traditional wealthy countries. So this wealth spread is going around the world, and this makes people more able to also invest in real estate. And then there's a fourth trend, and that's technology. I think in the past, it was difficult to acquire real estate. You had to have an identity, you had to have a bank account. There were lots of documents needed. And more, this is now becoming a digital phenomenon where people, if you have a mobile phone, you can start investing in real estate. So it's going to become more and more easy. And I think those four trends actually drive the demand and also drive the upwards potential that I see in values for real estate. So I think it is a very interesting market.
Interesting. So you're talking about how things are facilitated into the real estate market, which brings us to our second question. So it's known that owning real estate in other countries is not easy, and it will be bound by countless conditions. So this happens even in countries with transparent real estate markets, such as in the USA and the UK. So are these things that are considered barriers for property investors? And I'm talking in terms of like legal procedures, laws, cultures, language, and so on.
Yeah. Yes and no. I think what is important is to understand why do people invest in real estate, and there are different reasons. There's a nice diversification next to equity, shares and bonds. It gives somehow a protection against the price indexations. So there's always a reason, and like you mentioned before, there's a very attractive compound interest rate that real estate offers. So there are many reasons why people are searching for investments. But on the other hand, there is this administrative burden, all the complexities with different legal situations. And this all together make real estate very illiquid, not non-liquid. So it's taking a lot of time, taking a lot of money to do a real estate transaction. That's somehow the balance that needs to be seen. If you have to spend a lot of time, effort, resources in doing a small transaction, perhaps this is not in balance, but therefore perhaps for larger investors, investing abroad becomes more attractive, was more attractive, but this is changing rapidly.
Okay, thank you. So the application of blockchain and real estate tokenization has helped create more opportunities for investors that have low capital. So for example, at Realbox, the investment amount is only from $100. Is this one of the attractive and potential factors that this platform has to offer?
No, I think Joe, I second Joe's opinions. There are many benefits of investing in real estate. However, real estate has always been the playground for rich and high net worth individuals. The world is becoming a lot less equal now because the opportunities to invest in real estate is fairly limited, especially to retail investors and to younger people. So Realbox and also Joe with FIBREE as well. So we are trying to find different ways to tackle that problems, right? So we want to make it more accessible to younger people. We want to make it more accessible to retail investors that have the same opportunity to participate in a highly profitable investment class, which has been fairly limited to retail investors and younger investors in the past.
Okay, so this kind of ties into my next question that is for you, Alex. So as a long-term founder and blockchain solution provider of Realbox, what do you think of the current demand in real estate tokenization?
I think there's going to be huge demand for real estate tokenization. In fact, one of the research papers that Joe and his colleagues put out at FIBREE estimated that there would be an estimated 1,500 billion worth of real estate being tokenized in the world by 2024, which means if you think of the most expensive building in the world, which is the World Trade Center in the US, is $4 billion US. So it's equivalent to 1,000 of those, 100 of those buildings being tokenized in the world. So there's a huge market there that we can see.
The rate at the progression is really incredible. So one of the typical and rising stars of this model is Realbox. And I know that this is a new and potential market. So that's hence it is a risky business if investors do not have proper information on the projects. So as a company with years of experience, does Realbox have their own solutions? And if you could provide project information, technology, transparency, and touch on those subjects.
Yeah, thank you. One of the key benefits of having blockchain technology in applying into this is because blockchain technology is a very transparent technology. It makes our transaction, it makes the property information a lot more transparent to investors. So our aim is not only making real estate investments more accessible to investors around the world, but we're trying to make it more transparent as well. So information about the ownership of the property, information about the earnings, information on the tenants, the current conditions of the property, the expenses, the maintenance of the property, all of that would be listed on blockchain technology, and investors can access it quite freely and quite transparently. So that's what we're trying to bring to the world. And many other projects similar to Realboxes are also doing, especially many of the members of FIBREE that Joe's is the chairman and the founder.
Okay. So a common thread is accessibility and transparency. But at this point, some of the viewers might be asking themselves, so a real estate project is co-owned or is co-shared by many owners. So how is ownership decided?
Okay, so what we're trying to separate here is the usage market from the capital market. So when you're buying into a piece of the NFT of the property, you don't really have the physical ownership of the asset. The physical ownership of the asset will be kept by a trustee, and the trustee will then keep all the title ownership of the property. But then the income or the cash flow of the property will then be distributed to all the token holders that will then receive the dividend as part of the ownership of the tokens itself. So all the ownership will be kept separately from Realbox, and also it will be independently verified and controlled by the trustee committee. And also we're going to have auditor to audit the property quite regularly. We're also going to have a trustee bank that will keep the title deed of the property on behalf of the token owners. And also we're going to have independent property valuers to do independent valuation and frequent valuation of the property for the token holders. And all of that information would be kept in the blockchain and general ledger, and will be displayed and reported to the investors quite regularly.
Okay. And in terms of the usage of the property itself, we know that it's separate from the ownership, but I'm guessing in order to make revenue, will it be like a rental property being rented out or flipped maybe? How does that work?
So for Realbox, we will only focus on income producing properties. So we don't want to do any risky business right here.
Okay.
We want to focus on properties that generate a regular income. So the properties that we will invest in will be generally in the industrial sector, in the office, or in the retail sector. So those are considered safe sectors for our investors, and they will generate regular income for the token holders.
Okay, got it. Thank you. And so my next question is, how does real estate transaction with tokens work exactly?
Yeah, so I just want to comment, and Joe might jump in here a little bit as well, Joe. What we built in Realbox is we'll build a marketplace for token holders to freely trade the tokens between themselves. So one token holder can just sell it to another token holder and recoup their profits back. Joe, do you want to comment on more on this transactions of tokens, real estate tokens?
Yes, well, at the moment we're doing a worldwide research among different tokenization solutions, and to see and understand how they organize this. And actually what you often see is that the tokens people can buy, but not always there's a secondary market. So the tradability, for some this is not necessary because they just offer people having access to real estate investments. What you also see is that many are having some challenges, I call it challenges. Offering tokens onto a worldwide scene has to cope with different legislations, and you have to be compliant to different legislations. And this is this an untapped terrain mostly. So we are exploring how to work with this, and not only the legal situation, but also perhaps tax issues. If you gain revenues as an investor, where should it be taxed? Should it be taxed in the country of origin, where the building is located? Or should it be taxed on the country of where you are located as investor? So there are still some challenges, how transactions need to be made and what exact are the cost effects to doing transactions in tokenized assets. And I think this is very interesting to explore. Right? There's only one way forward, just do it. And that's what I think Realbox is doing very well. But I also, that's my last part, I think we are seeing that the market is shifting. In the traditional market, you had in financial institutions investing in real estate, private persons investing in real estate. And this was the traditional way with banks, with all those intermediates that we all know. But what we see now is the era of the millennials. I don't know if this is worldwide, but I think in Europe, you see that almost 25% of millennials are investing in crypto. And actually they're now watching what are the opportunities and what are for us the more risk-averse opportunities to invest, because it's a very volatile market. And then tokenized real estate becomes very attractive. It represents large tickets, large volumes. And because there's the security, the asset-backed security, it also gives them some trust, some risk averseness. And because there's more and more money becoming available, I think this is going to be an entirely new market that perhaps is going to replace an important part of traditional markets. And this now the millennials who do it. But if people get more educated, if they become more familiar, perhaps this is going to gain much faster pace than we would expect. And I think we're only tapping into this terrain now. I don't know how fast it will go, but I'm somehow convinced that this is a future avenue that we will see more.
Yeah,
most definitely. And we also want to tap in this opportunity. And most importantly, we want to do it the right way. And that's why we're seeking advice from a big organization like FIBREE and also many of our consultants as well. But at the end of the day, what we do want to do is to bring this investment opportunity to younger people, the millennials, as Joe said, but also help them to have a more disciplined approach into investment. So instead of putting all their money into risky investments and risky assets, we open safer investment opportunities for them, so they can have diversified portfolio. And that's our aim and our goals in this project.
Thank you.
I think that's also the image that the market is looking for. On the moment that you have somebody that is too much pushing on creating big gains, there's a lot of risk, and there's also the opposite side. If this news, so if we have too much risky business, it will affect the image of tokenized real estate. So I think it's a very clever way to put it forward this way.
Yeah, absolutely.
For sure. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. So last but not least, this is a question a little bit more focused to you, Alex. Which advice do you want to provide to new investors and young people who want to enter into the real estate market with PropTech?
Yeah, thank you, Mia. So my first advice to everyone who wants to enter this market is first, get some education, get some knowledge, read about the sector, look up information in reputable organizations like FIBREE or on Realbox. We have a lot of information for our investors. So first, you need to get educated about the sector. Second, you need to be aware of the risks and return associated with investing, not only in real estate, but also in cryptos as well. And thirdly, you need to know, how to navigate through good projects and also good, cryptos and real estate projects as well. So don't invest in anything that comes up. You need to study about the project, about the founders, the ability of the team, and also the technology behind it. So I guess, again, education and also understanding the risks, understanding the rewards, and understanding about the project that you are going to invest in. So those are the key advices that I want to give to anyone who wants to invest in this sector.
Those are all very, very good points. Thank you for that. So now we're going to move on to questions from my community. So there are a few, and the first one, this one seems to be for you, Joe. So one person is asking, there have been many companies successfully applying PropTech and receiving achievements, as well as attracting many users. What is a typical model, in your opinion, that has gained success and been developed worldwide?
Yes. What I'm very passionate about and what I like, I think we were coming from Web 2 solutions, but what I like very much, the information. Having more digital information, but also having better quality information, this will enable a lot. And that's what PropTech means. And if I look from my European perspective, I see actually two large trends. First of all is the digital twin, call it like that. And there I see some really interesting examples. We have, if you want to invest in the building, you like to have information. What does the building represent? So it has to be, how is it constructed? We have the BIM modeling. But what I see is how can we make this information more valuable? And then I think the combination of new technologies comes in play. I have seen some examples where augmented reality screens are developed, where people, once they have a 3D design of a building, can walk through the building, see on the screen how the drawing has been made, And if there are some failures, if it is constructed not in the right way, they can directly point it, and then they can have the communication about how to improve this, how to work around with it. But also, if you have operational information, once the building is there, the drawings are there, then you can optimize the operation. And we all have to reduce CO2 emissions, make it more energy efficient. So there's a combination of different data. If you have sensors in the building, if those measurements can be showed in such viewings and screens, then you can find ways how to optimize this. And it is all the way of combining different data. And this brings me to we at FIBREE, why we are trying to set up what we call a unique object identification. We think it is extremely important to turn Web 2 silo, more centralized based databases, into Web 3 open and interactive databases. And what is needed is not a complex world with APIs where all those cool solutions can be run in the old world, but APIs should be reduced, and the UI is somehow a connector code that helps reducing the need for APIs. In theory, you can bring it back the need to only one. If you connect the UI and the opposite side does the same, then you create a network. But what we do is create silos into network solutions, and doing that, having the high quality of data, I think this is one thing where they can leverage all the PropTech solutions that I mentioned before.
Absolutely, thank you. Now,
if I may add something, Mia, I absolutely agree with Joe, and I'm very happy that Joe brought up the digital twins because one of the offerings that Realbox also wants to offer is making the digital twins of all the assets that we invest in. So our users can view the property, they can check out the activity within the property, the usage, the sustainability of the properties as well. And even property managers can also manage the buildings from the digital twin as well. So in a sense, people who invest in this property will have two assets. So one is the real assets, the hard assets, and the other one is a digital twin of that assets. So that's the first thing. The second thing that we want to commit into is that Realbox wants to be a social responsible entity as well. So we don't invest in any real estates that come up to us. We will only focus on real estate that has a meaning, that has benefits socially to our communities. So before we invest in any projects, we'll go back to the communities and we'll get the community votes. And the projects need to meet not only the financial criteria of the community, but also it needs to meet the social and corporate responsibility criteria that our communities set out. And a lot of our millennial investors really want to put their money where the social and corporate responsibilities are greener buildings, more efficient buildings, more technologically advanced buildings as well. So that's what I just want to share.
Yeah, and I think it is the combination, exactly what you say, Alex. If you invest in a property, in the end it is a big investment, but then you want to follow what is happening with it. And the easiest way, if you have thousands of tokens out there, to inform everybody is to make it digital. And therefore we need to have the good information about what is happening with the property. And this digital twin for me is the solution. Perhaps the future will be metaverse, and then everything will be put in a hybrid situation. I don't know where it's heading towards, but I think this is the combination that really is PropTech driving towards.
For sure.
Thank you. So another question, one of the leading companies in the real estate tokenization model is Realbox. Is tokenization a wise move for real estate companies nowadays?
I totally agree. If you look at how property has evolved, right, for the past 100 of years. So in the past, property used to be a very localized investment product. People can only invest in properties within their local community, within their local city. But then, and also property used to be a very illiquid investment. There's only one person that owns the assets, or there's just one simple, very small group of people that owns a lot of assets within that community. But as the community evolves, property are becoming, number one, a lot more global, as Joe mentioned before. Investors are now coming from all over the world, and they don't have to have a lot of money to invest into real estate. Investors are getting a lot younger and younger nowadays, and they also becoming, it's also becoming a lot more available to retail investors as well. You don't need to be rich. You don't need to have a lot of money to invest in real estate. So yes, real estate and tokenization is the answer to that question. And also it is the trend that we believe that will progress and will continue to grow into the future.
Got it. Okay.
I said yes and no. My background, I'm Dutch, and we had a very famous Dutch football player, Johan Cruyff. He said, if you have to be a soccer player, there's only one moment that you can be in time. Either you are too early or you're too late, but there's only one moment that you're on time. And I think my answer to your question would be, depends. What is important is that the real estate industry is on time. They have to first educate, what we discussed before. I think education at this moment is key to understand what is happening, what is driving this trend. But on the moment that you need to be there, you have to jump in. And this moment will come. I don't know if this moment will come in 2 years and 3 years. I think the explorers are companies like Realbox. They are paving the way for the larger take-up market expansion. But on the moment that you as a traditional real estate are not there at the moment, then I think it will move very fast and there's a big risk that you will be too late. So I think timing is the critical word. And education is what they need to do now.
So educate yourself in order to find out when it is the right time to jump in.
Yes, okay. The world is changing faster and we have to understand what is happening and what are the drivers behind it and how can you as a company anticipate on that.
Right. Okay, so Alex, for you, in your opinion, what makes Realbox different in this competitive market?
What does make Realbox different is that we have a very good and capable founding team members. So most of us are coming from the traditional real estate background and also with the combination of our technology experience as well. So our co-founders was the lead of technology ventures at KPMG. We've built many startups in the PropTech sector, but also in FinTech sector. And with the combination of experience in real estate, in finance, and in technology, and not only local experience in the property markets that we have, but we also have global experience as well. And also we have the advisors of advisors like Joe himself and many other advisors. We do believe that we have the right team to move this project forward. So that's the first thing. Second thing is we believe that we have the right strategy and the right technology for this. So our strategy will only focus on properties that are income producing, that have sustainable income for our investors. We don't want to take into our portfolio any risky assets, okay? And last but not least, we do want to make all of these investments sustainable and also responsible investments as well. So we don't want to invest in projects that are bad for the environment, and we only want to focus on projects that have benefits socially and financially for our investors. So those are the key differences that we have compared to maybe other players in the markets.
Okay. And how do technology companies manage real estate data and projects for project owners? So there should be other solutions, shouldn't there?
Yeah, I think what you see at the moment, Oxford University did a nice research to it. They call it PropTech before 1.0.
Right.
That was the day that everything was done on paper. Then you had PropTech 1.0, the first big software packages came in. Then PropTech 2.0, where it's actually the world where we are living now. Data are more common. Everybody has data. We have big data. The first analysis start, and the next era, and it started perhaps a few years ago, but we're tapping into it. It's PropTech 3.0. And I think PropTech 3.0, you can combine it with Web 3.0. I think then we are going to turn centralized solutions into interconnected solutions, where people have more decentralized structures and more going to rely on data. And I think we see this in other industries. If the data structure is there, then you can create platforms and you can see big changes. And I think the property industry always was a laggard, but digitalization is not how do you say it, bypassing the industry here. It is just going a little slower, but the moment will be there. And I think at the moment there's happening a lot. It seems to me, it feels like we're accelerating.
Yeah.
Totally agree, Joe. I spent the last 18 years, researching into property and also, doing property investments. There's actually a saying that tell me where you live and I'll tell you who you are. There's actually a saying in the industry. The fact is that every single person that are living here will be somehow touching points with a piece of real estate from the day you were born, right, until the day you're no longer here. So when you're born, you're in a hospital, then you're home, then you go to school, then you go to an office, then you go to the shopping center, then you go to an industrial centers, and then finally you go back to a hospital. So every piece of your life is touching base with a piece of real estate. So real estate, I think, has a lot of data. It's a huge amount of data within the real estate community and the real estate sector. However, as Joe said, the real estate market has been very slow in adapting and also in utilizing all of that data for the betterment of society, for the betterment of the environment. So I think this is the time that the real estate sector itself has to innovate themselves. We need to move ahead in order to innovate ourselves and keep up with the society, keep up with how business is moving ahead with technology.
Okay, so we're hearing a lot about moving ahead and whatnot. So now we go into another question from one of our community members, and they're asking, well, what do you think of the current demand in real estate tokenization?
It is at the beginning. We do this research with FIBREE. We have every year we make an industry report. Then we research what is the status of blockchain in real estate. What we see is actually that it is following the pattern of the Gartner hype cycle. Okay. In 2019, when we started, we found 500 products. 2020, it reduced back to a decrease to 300. But last year, 2021, it were again 400. So it looks like we went through the true disillusionment. And also, if we are talking with those solution providers, from those 400 that we found last year, perhaps 2/3 are somehow looking in creating tokenized solutions for real estate. What is a big challenge for them is to find enough traction in the market. The product is unknown. Real estate companies, they don't know exactly what it is. People are undereducated. So you may call it cold water fear. If you don't know exactly what the product is, first wait until there are some first movers and wait and see what the result for them is, and then step in. And it seems to me that everybody is looking to the ones who are at the forefront. But what I also see is that the ones on the forefront, they actually manage to bring it alive. What is interesting for tokenization, what you need to do is combine the technical development with the legal challenges. I think in essence, it's the combination of those two. And what we see is that legal legislations, they are becoming more open for digital solutions. The technology, we have the first experiences, how they work. So the combination is becoming more attractive, and this somehow shapes the adoption in the market. Like I said before, there are the millennials who are already a little familiar with cryptos, and they seem for me the ones who are most interested in purchasing tokens, because for them, purchasing a token is not that difficult as somebody who never did it before. It feels more familiar, and because the market is growing so fast on that side, I think the potential will come automatically, and that is what I see how it will happen.
Totally agree. Just want to add one more thing. So I was at the Binance blockchain week the other day, and they are talking about the 1 billion. So the 1 billion user of blockchain and cryptocurrencies at the moment. And as soon as we're going to pass that 1 billion mark, it will become a new normal. So we will then start to see a lot of these investors who are already used to applying blockchain technology and using cryptos will start investing in real estate, and they will think that tokenization is just a normal way. It is no longer an innovation or an innovative approach. It is becoming a norm. So for a lot of these investors and a lot of these millennials to make their investments.
Yeah, as you said, it is becoming a new norm. So I'm interested in seeing how the laws adapt to this new norm. It's an untapped territory that it's going to be interesting to see where it goes.
You see several countries who see this as an opportunity. They become very open to digitalization. And perhaps those are the winners in this game, but perhaps the others will not would not like to stay behind. And I think it only goes one way, it's forward. I think it will never go backwards.
Yeah, I agree. Now we have one last question from a member, and it says, so for example, I'm not interested in buying a house every year and then sell it again, but I believe that any company expects their investors to keep returning to their platforms and find measures to attract more customers like me or to expand different categories of products. I see the same thing in Realbox. So what are the additional services and products that real estate projects often provide?
Okay, so what we want to do, we want to offer multiple products to our investors. So not just only one type of real estate, but many other types. So not only residential for rent, but also commercial, office building, retail center, industrial property, and also healthcare, resorts, and lifestyle properties as well. So what we want to offer is a multitude levels, different types of properties on our platform. Secondly, we don't want to focus on just one country. We want to gradually expand to many countries around the world to make it more liquid, to make it more diversified portfolios for our investors. So our investors will always have new products that would fit their risk appetites. So they might be a young person who wants to invest in high risk products, or they can be an elder investor who wants to put their money where it is safe. So we want to have a full spectrum of different types of products for our investors.
Thank you. Okay, so that sums it up for all of the questions from the community. And that basically sums it up for the video, you guys. So property ownership decentralization or asset encryption promises to become a sharp trend of development of real estate in the near future. Although this is currently still a relatively new model, with great potential and strong development of technology, especially blockchain, real estate will grow into a diversified ecosystem where anyone can become the owner of a global scale real estate project. So once again, thank you to all the experts who joined today's seminar. Thank you to Alex and thank you to Joe and for being on our channel today.
Thank you, Mia. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
No.
It was a pleasure. Now,
All right, goodbye, everyone.
Yeah.